been exactly a year since President Cyril Ramaphosa was inaugurated as the country's head of state. In a breakaway from tradition, the ceremony was moved from the Union Buildings to the Loftus Versfeld Stadium to allow for greater public participation. Newzroom Afrika senior politics reporter Ziyanda Ngcobo takes a look at his time in office since then.
A bruising internal ANC presidential campaign, followed by a bitter breakup with former President Jacob Zuma. After spending over a year as caretaker president, Cyril Ramaphosa finally had his electoral mandate as the first citizen of the country.
I, Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, swear
that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa.
Swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa.
And will obey.
And will obey.
Observe. Uphold. And maintain the Constitution. And all law of the Republic.
Thousands of South Africans, in the spirit of Ramaphoria, traveled to Pretoria to witness the moment.
I am very, very excited. This event took place when I'm day off. I'm very excited. This is my first time and I'm experiencing, wow, this is the people's president.
He has promised us that there's a new dawn for young people. He has promised the South Africa that we are confident in terms of investors. Now we're speaking about the second revolution of the ANC. Where we're saying as young people we need economic freedom in our lifetime.
The President-elect, would you please raise up your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
With that, the sixth administration was underway. At this point, Ramaphosa is seen as the right man to undo all the wrongs of his predecessor.
Sacrifices and trade-offs. It is upon the conduct of each that the fate of all of us depends. If we are to reinvigorate the implementation of the National Development Plan, we must cast our sights on the broadest of horizons.
That Sona was the one where he was deemed the dreamer, Ramaphosa the dreamer, when he spoke about, bullet trains, he spoke about smart cities and all of that. And people felt that that Sona wasn't anchoring his authority enough, especially after having been given an electoral mandate, or at least the ANC being given an electoral mandate. I think that stood out because it meant that he kick-started his presidential term, his official presidential term, on the back foot.
It wasn't long before the so-called Ramaphoria began dissipating.
Ramaphoria was a measure of people's desperation to find a new narrative about their country, to engineer hope within themselves that things are on the mend and South Africa will be a better place because Zuma is gone.
In terms of fighting corruption, you don't need 5 years to get corrupt politicians behind bars. There's enough evidence as to who stole what. None of them is behind bars. Yes, the president appointed a credible head of the NPA, but nothing is happening even on that score.
issues are that we're sitting, a year into his tenure, and we've had the Zondo Commission, which he has extended, and we've had the appointment of new people to the NPA, but we don't have any prosecutions. So everybody involved in the state capture hasn't been prosecuted.
And the ghosts of Bosasa and the donation made to the CR17 presidential campaign continued to follow Ramaphosa in his new administration.
Now, Mr. President, here I hold a proof of payment that was transferred to say R500,000 rands need to be transferred to a trust account called EFG2 on the 18th of October last year. This was allegedly put for your son, Andile Ramaphosa. I would want to ask you right here today that you will bring our nation into confidence and please set the record straight on this matter, Mr. President.
This payment, I can assure you, Mr. Maimani, that I asked him at close range whether this was money that was obtained illegally, unlawfully, and he said this was a service that was provided, and to this end, he actually even showed me a contract that he signed with Bosasa.
And then came the U-turn, which many believe cost Ramaphosa his credibility.
Did not get involved in the fundraising for the campaign leading up to Nasrec. And the colleagues who were running the campaign kept me away from that. And as we've said in our statements, all I ever did was, to meet people either at dinners and so forth.
Well, that's when we got the earliest indication that the man can lie. Remember what he said in Parliament was completely untrue. He said he had seen a contract between Bosasa and his son. It turned out that he was actually lying. He even had to write to Parliament essentially to apologize. So we realize that actually we are not dealing with a messiah here. We are dealing with a typical politician who, when he is cornered, he is prepared and willing to lie.
By the time Ramaphosa's 100 days in office came to pass, it became abundantly clear that solving the crisis at the country's state-owned enterprises would be a mammoth task. The extent of the damage even shocked the head of state at times.
And as we were already mid-course on our journey, we got to hear that the country had gone into stage 6 of load shedding, and that surprised and shocked us, and I immediately felt that it was necessary that I should cut my visit short and return to the country. But what has also come out as a great concern is that there has been a measure of sabotage that has led to the loss of, during this period, of 2,000 megawatts.
Eskom and the South African Airways remain some of the biggest crises the Ramaphosa presidency has had to tackle. All of this, coupled with ratings downgrades, a low economic downturn, and internal ANC factional battles over the policy direction the state should take. This included debates over the nationalization of the Reserve Bank.
The South African economy is failing, when it's falling apart. Some economists are saying this is the worst post-apartheid economic crisis that we've actually faced. And the ANC is solely to blame for it.
We have a problem in that the key economic actors are not moving in the same direction. They're pulling away from each other. and therefore were not able to move decisively.
Cyril Ramaphosa inherited a big mess created by his predecessor, Jacob Zuma, and the ANC as a governing party. So that we must acknowledge. But here is the thing. Are there big things that President Cyril Ramaphosa has done since he took over the state to halt the descent? The answer is no.
By September 2019, Ramaphosa was faced with another ever-growing crisis of gender-based violence.
Our criminal justice system is most toothless when it comes to dealing with rape, detecting psychopaths, and unearthing violent domestic spaces. The power of the law must precisely be so effective that it is observed by all in public and domestic spaces because they know there are consequences.
We sit in a situation where we have a gender-based violence crisis. We have the numbers, we have the research, we have every single thing that we need at our disposal in order for us to act. And the government promised to put down R1 billion towards this problem. And to this day, he still has not outlined. You know, he made that promise in August of last year. And to this day, we still don't know how that R1 billion is going to be spent. To this day, we don't have anything that tells us that between August and right now, this is what the government has done.
As the months went by, pressure continued to mount on Ramaphosa to take action. The year 2020 brought on a new challenge, one that even Ramaphosa couldn't have predicted for his presidency.
COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
The global health emergency that is COVID-19 has significantly changed the way Ramaphosa is viewed as a leader.
Coronavirus has created an opportunity for President Cyril Ramaphosa to display leadership. If we are fair, we must say that he has actually displayed leadership. So whenever he speaks, South Africans expect something of him. And let us be fair, there is no one in South Africa or anywhere else in the world, by the way, who would have done anything better with regard to leading through a crisis like this, because we haven't experienced a crisis like this. So he has done his best to lead South Africa. And generally, South Africans believe him when he speaks on the coronavirus. He has tried his best. What he has not done, though, he hasn't, parallel to the effort he has been making, he hasn't built state capacity to be able to cope with the crisis if it were to worsen. In fact, indications, if you look at numbers, you can see that the situation at some point is going to worsen.
What the coronavirus has allowed him space to do is to exercise state power. And because it's a state of national disaster, therefore now he has to respond with a speedy turnaround time in decision making. So and the targets and the dynamics of managing coronavirus are so fluid that you always need to be making decisions.
While the history books will have the ultimate say on Ramaphosa's legacy, the coronavirus pandemic will shape how his presidency is remembered. For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Ziyanda Ngcobo in Johannesburg.